Hello everyone, today let's talk about Faria. She is considered the worst character in the entire history of the Magnificent Century. Not because the actress played poorly, but because of the character's development. That's what we'll be discussing today. So, in both the Magnificent Century and the Kesem Empire, there will always be a heroine like Faria, a princess who came to the Ottoman Empire and became part of the Sultan, Shahzad's harem, with luck and superpowers. What abilities did Faria have? Here's what. 1. Let's remember her first appearance. It was full of pomp. Let's start with the fact that a girl with such a petite and fragile physique could never single-handedly defeat several more experienced and physically stronger men. But Faria did, against all logic and common sense. 2. Now let's recall that scene. Somehow, she mysteriously sneaked into the Sultan's chambers and then jumped off the balcony. The height was significant, at least as high as a 5-story building, and any normal person, if they didn't break bones, would have at least suffered fractures. But Faria didn't break anything, and she even landed on her feet and had enough strength to escape from the guards, against all logic and common sense. 3. A typical princess, like all princesses before her, suffers from the not like everyone else syndrome. Faria suffers from it too. This is absolutely unrealistic and too vulgar for a 17th century princess. Her behavior doesn't show any hint of aristocracy or good manners. Well, there couldn't have been a princess like Faria at that time. Seriously, it would have been better if they made her the daughter of some military figure. Then her character would have made more sense and her behavior would have been understandable. But like this, why does Faria annoy us so much? Because of her unreality and sweetness. Throughout the season, we tried to perceive this character as a noble person and simply an angel in flesh, but it didn't quite work out. In the end, we got an excessively sweet heroine whose kindness makes us sick, and the screenwriters themselves forced it onto the viewers, pointing out, here she is, the positive heroine, love her. That's why Faria only stood out due to Ace Sultan's mistakes. Because if we remove Ace and leave only Faria, we get an empty and unremarkable heroine. And despite Ace being depreciated, she, strangely enough, evokes much more understanding than Faria, who repels us. Why is the image of Farah ridiculous? 1. As I mentioned before, she is endowed with superpowers, single-handedly defeated experienced warriors and jumps from great heights without breaking anything. 2. She suffers from the not like everyone else syndrome. 3. She positions herself as the bravest, noblest, and kindest. 4. She loves the coolest man, Sultan Murad. 5. She got everything on a silver platter, because she didn't achieve anything with her intelligence because she doesn't have any, and her personal drama only includes losing a child. She didn't go through the same difficulties that Hurrem, Nurbano, Safai, and Kesem went through. These women had to do everything with their intelligence. They made difficult decisions on the path to happiness, and they went through many losses and deaths. 7. The heroine Farah lacks logic. Just remember the moment when she was appointed to manage the harem. Excuse me? She didn't convert to Islam, and according to Ottoman laws, a non-Muslim cannot be in charge of the harem, even if she becomes the lawful wife of the Sultan 10 times. I remind you that everyone in the harem converts to Islam. So, why would Muslims follow someone who is unbeliever? It's complete nonsense. In pure Muslim tradition, a caliph would never allow a non-believer to manage the harem and lead people who practice the state religion of Islam. Why does Farah Betlin hardly evoke sympathy? Because she is mostly to blame for her own misfortunes. She knew about half of the dangers that threatened her. People attacked the city, infiltrated the palace, and caused dissatisfaction in the harem of Aisha Sultan and Kesem Sultan. As they say, God protects those who protect themselves. If she wanted to be with Murad so badly, and even in the role of his queen, she should have been more cautious everywhere. Strengthen security. Not go to places where the likelihood of an attack is higher. For any ruler of that time, the birth of an heir was almost a primary task. So each pregnancy was perceived as a great event, and normal women turned into fragile vases. protecting themselves, or rather, life within them. But Farah went shopping at the market, being a target. Faria didn't pay attention to herself at all. Instead of sending servants to the market, she wanted to go there herself. And the market is a crowded place where there could be a lot of pushing and shoving. Besides, someone could have accidentally bumped into Faria and she could have fallen and lost her baby. The disaster could easily have happened to her even without Aisha's help, of course. It is immoral to incite a crowd against a pregnant woman, but what did Faria do to save herself? Nothing. I carefully and repeatedly reviewed this moment, and here's what I noticed. The guards accompanying the princess pushed the crowd aside and provided her with an opportunity to escape. All she had to do was jump into the carriage. What did Faria do? Instead of taking the chance to run away, she grabbed a dagger and headed towards the enraged crowd. It's as if Faria forgot that she was pregnant. And this situation alone shows that Faria lacks self-preservation instinct. And you know what's surprising? The fact that this heroine's life teaches her nothing. 1. She had already been targeted in an assassination attempt at the market before. But being pregnant, Faria still decided to go there, knowing that she was being hunted by the Pope's people. And to top it all off, I want to say that the market itself is an unsafe place. Moreover, it wasn't the 21st century back then, it was the 17th. If a woman got pregnant, she tried not to draw attention to herself even more. She lost her child, but after some time she got pregnant again. It was a miracle. Farida should thank God for this and continue to protect herself. But she clearly didn't learn anything from the past lesson. While being pregnant again, she started seeking adventures. With a big belly, Farida started monitoring Sanavbur and personally keeping an eye on her. And what if she hits Farida in the stomach? Sanavbur had such an opportunity twice. Farida would lose her child again. Isn't there any help in the harem? Why couldn't the same task be entrusted to Madame Margarita? Oh yes, Farida loves seeking adventures. Taking care of the child in her womb is not her main priority.